All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed your snacks and refreshments. And here's some time for Forge. And I'm just gonna walk you through a brief overview, a high-level overview of Forge and its technologies underneath it, and how it can potentially empower and to bootstrap innovations for BIM and AEC industry as a whole. And today, this will be our quest for the next half an hour. I'm Bryan, and as you can see, I'm a web developer by day, and by night I'm a developer consultant for ADN. My main duty is to help the developers worldwide to utilize the Forge platform, to make best use of the Forge platform, and create samples and answering their questions related or not related to Forge, the platform. And you can find me on WeChat. There's a QR response code on the right of the screen. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please do add me on WeChat. All right, so let's start with a topic that's been hotly discussed around the globe, which is the data-centric age. It has truly arrived, because from our day-to-day work and life, you'll probably spend half of the day chasing down project data, your drawings, your cut sheets, your takeout calculations. And then you spend another half of the day resolving issues, wrestling with RFIs, right? And correcting mistakes, disconnected data here and there. So all these time-consuming tasks, they are all data-bound. They all revolve around one single thing, which is data. But there's one big problem and one big challenge with this. That is the associated costs and the number of apps in different formats coming out from these different data sources is too enormous. But what we have, on the other hand, is that data has become a primary asset for any of your organization. In this view, I'm not alone in saying this, because this is echoed by our former CEO of Autodesk, and now it is he's a board member and special advisor of Autodesk, Carl Bass. He says, unless your data is serving you well, you can't even compete, much less win. So how do we drive data to serve us well? It is primarily by adopting a data-centric architecture for our application, and even for how your organization is run. So this data-centric architecture doesn't really change how you manage your project or design the phases for your project. You have your common stages from the past, ideation, conceptualization, and then planning, execution, monitoring. But adding to that is the data-centric concept, the ideation that put data as the primary driver for your project. It is in sharp contrast to a traditional document-driven execution. I'll show you an example. With document-driven project, there's a very big challenge with this, is that all the data is static. It is sparse and spread in all those silos. They are disconnected. And with it, there's lots of problems, like human errors, misalignment of data, slow response to change. And it's very well visualized with this diagram you see here. There's huge disconnection between different formats and different data patterns. And you see all these sections, business units, they are siloed, right? And how do you address this disconnection? How do we bring all these disconnect discrete dots together Now, this is where Forge comes into the play, comes into the equation. It is at the heart of a data-centric apps, data-centric experiences and services. It is a platform that helps your developers or even people who doesn't really have a lot of developing experience, programming experience, to build data-centric apps, experiences, and services. So what is Forge? And what makes it so great? Because I've been telling you that Forge is the solution to a data-centric age. But how does it accomplish this? You say, well, no matter how good you tell me it is, I'm not going to use it unless you tell me what's under the hood. Here it is. In one sentence, in one statement, Forge is a platform that has the most powerful cloud services and APIs and resources for developers to fast-track their data-centric apps development. Now, with API, it means application programming interfaces. It is a very important component to connect different apps. So with APIs, different apps can talk to each other, different modules can talk to each other in a uniform data pattern, in a uniform exchanges of data. Now, from this statement, we see that Forge is a cloud-based service. So when you use Forge, you have the natural benefits of any cloud services. And it's an ecosystem. So you have a full stack of tags and APIs together to drive success for your organization, not just your app or your customer, but everybody. Now here's a short video introducing some of the stacks and APIs that Forge offers. Here's a viewer, especially a model visualizer, a model derivative service that translates your data and different models to different formats, and data management, where you upload your models to our cloud services and manage them. Authentication to protect your data from misuse and abuse. And automation, not just AutoCAD, but we have Revit and the Inventor as well, and 3D Max. Ready capture, that's the future, right? But now I think it's reality, very much a reality. And also the API to manipulate programmatically with BIM docs and assets. Moving on. This is an overview of our Forge services. With Viewer, like I said, is a component to visualize your models. And you have authentication here to protect your assets and APIs from misuse, to authorize requests, authorize API calls. Data management, design automation, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Model derivative is at the core of Forge's capability to bridge different formats because it translates dozens of different design formats. We're talking RVT, we're talking IFC, we're talking OBJ. You can translate them using our cloud services without having to install each and every software on your machine. It's a cloud service, it's open public access to everyone. Rapid capture, photo to 3D scenes. And that in BIM 360 is basically for your capability to manage BIM assets, BIM docs already on our servers programmatically. All right, let's look into the Forge technical stack very quickly, briefly. You see, some of you might have already heard of these terms, RESTful APIs in the middle, OAuth2, OData. These are all information technology standards. These are standard technology that's adopted so widely across the globe. Almost each and every APIs you see out there use them. Google API, AWS, anything. So you have any exposure to those APIs. I've ever played around with these APIs. You already know Forge. You can already start to build your solution around Forge. All you need is just a menu, a docs of where our endpoints is, what parameters to put in, what response you can expect. And at the bottom, we have AWS web services that offers us the infrastructure to ensure that our servers can run undisruptedly. We can have HA, high availability. We can have a CDN, global delivery of our apps. So we don't have to worry about our infrastructure and worry about some really costly stuff. And at the center, this is this RESTful API thing. What is this? This is basically a format of exchanging data with our APIs. You can see down the right corner, the right button. Almost all the languages can talk to, have the ability to talk to the RESTful API. So you say we have this program in Java, we have this program in .NET, C# or any language in our company already. Do we have to migrate them to another language in order to use Forge? The answer is no. As long as they can talk to our APIs with HTTP protocol, they can send HTTP payloads with our to and from our APIs. You can engage with Forge. It doesn't pick a specific language. And on top of it, it's stateless and protected by TRS technology to help it to add a security layer to it. All right, moving on. I'm not just going to go through the cliche again about the cloud benefits. I'm sure you heard enough of it. Just a reminder of the fact that when you use Forge, you're actually capitalizing on cloud's benefits already because it's a full cloud service. You're actually migrating, going to the cloud platform already. Actually, Forge was an internal API before 2014. It was primarily consumed by each and every Autodesk apps before exposed to the general outside world, external world. So you can see hundreds of millions of calls are being made on a monthly basis to our APIs. A lot of developers working on it, 4,000 developers working on it. And we have hundreds of developers in Autodesk developing this platform. This is going to be the focus of Autodesk for years to come. We're going to migrate all our capabilities of each and every Autodesk products onto this platform so that you can leverage them within your own app, your own application. Currently, in short, this is a breakdown of our stack, our APIs. You see, we have design automation for AutoCAD in the right column, for Revit, for Inventor, and down the bottom there's reality capture. What's the future like? What kind of APIs can we expect in the coming month or within the next few years? Here are them. First, we have modeling and design here. It's a cloud-based modeling and parametric modeling. So we're talking about generative design. We're talking about collaboration in real time on a model. And it's all delivered to your device, to a handheld device, to a mobile phone, to your desktop, mobile, anything, any platform that supports HTML5. And next up, it's automated workflow. We already have automation. And next up is to really incorporate your third-party apps, your third-party assets, your ERP software and stuff into the whole workflow. And we have this UX, UL elements. That was going to be a really selling point for our last AU event, but unfortunately it wasn't ready. With this, you don't have to wrestle yourself against actual coding. It really makes light work of coding because we're talking about matter of drag and drop to build apps. Yeah. I personally ran a workshop yesterday and people coming were expecting to use this framework. So it's really highly anticipated. I'm sure it's going to come along sometime this year. And lastly, but not least, we have machine learning. We're talking about this thing, about the Autodesk design graph. It's something that you can train AI to recognize model patterns. Yeah, sounds amazing, right? And it really conforms with what Jack said earlier in the morning with the BIM 4.0 and the 5.0 standards. We talk about automation and AI intelligent design. So this is all on the roadmap, kind of coming sooner or later, hopefully this year. All right, so I'm going to talk briefly about BIM 360. Just going to show you this video.
The future of project delivery has arrived.
Very briefly.
And it's here with a common data platform to ensure seamless transitions as projects move from design through planning to construction and operations. All project data is collected in a common data platform, ensuring accuracy and availability of information, and reducing data loss across phases. BIM 360 facilitates a frictionless data flow with Autodesk authoring tools. As an open platform, you can leverage information from third-party applications using Forge APIs. This centralized data allows you to extract insights that lead to better predictability. Data-driven decisions replace last-known information and lead to avoidance of unforeseen problems, both for individual projects and across your portfolio. In BIM 360, all teams and data across the project lifecycle are connected, automatically processing industry-standard file types to enable seamless.
I'm going to cut this short because time forbids. This is just an architectural overview of how our BIM 360 apps and platforms build upon Forge. Just give you a quick overview. And then, empowered by BIM 360 APIs, your apps can basically query and each and every hubs on cloud. Yeah, we're talking about relationships, properties, stuff in your hubs. All the data, you can query them with complex queries. So just eliminating these islands and disconnection between data. Moving on, I'm going to talk briefly about the Revit IO. The Revit IO gives you the ability to incorporate your .NET add-ins and Dynamo scripts into our cloud service. So you can run this actually our cloud platform without having to run it on your local installation. It brings these add-ins and the programmability to each and every of your app, to each and every of client apps. That's your common use cases. Creating families and categories. Did clash detection and stuff. Just give you a brief idea of how to use Revit IO. It's coming up. We'll have several events, accelerators for Revit IO. It's already in public beta stage. So you're welcome to attend those accelerators. And in closest locations like Taiwan and Shanghai are going to have this kind of events. March and April and May. And we will have the next up accelerator in February, but it's in the States, unfortunately. So the closest location, the easiest option would be Taiwan and Shanghai, coming up in March and May. You can go to our booth outside to find out more about this. All right, we're gonna go about come down to some industrial real world cases being powered by Forge. This is your common use cases, we see a concentration of solutions in these industrial sectors. Just give you a brief idea. And I call this the Forge Consortium. On your lab, we have this certified solution providers. You probably see some familiar names there. And in the middle, we have our certified system integrators. Again, lots of familiar names, famous names, brands. And on your right is your usual suspects for major clients. All right, so we're gonna spend a bit of time on this company called the SmartVID.io. SmartVID basically based their solution on Forge. So as well, I'm running out of time, so I'm just gonna show you the video of what they did straight away. You see they draw this analog from a self-driven car recognizing real-world objects, right? How cool would that be if we can migrate that technology into BIM, into construction? That's what they did. Yeah. And they accomplished this with the Forge APIs. You see, simply by visual surveillance, you can gather this amount of data within a very short period of time. But how to do online analysis in this short period of time? How to consume effectively, to perform OLAP with all these huge amounts of data, and to achieve a business goal, to do really value-added work with it. You see, what they do is to spot suspicious sightings using OCR, optical recognition, and then to report these issues onto the BIM 360 platform, BIM 360 APIs. Again, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to just cut this short. Next up is this company called the Teoform. It is a Shenzhen-based company. You probably heard a word or two about them. They specialize in BIM consulting, big data, digitalization, GIS, IoT, trainings, and solutions. So a very brief video on a project they did. You see the model visualization on your right, and all this data from the sensors on your left. The data visualization you see up there on your left. And these are all based on Forge APIs, Forge cloud services. This is basically a building operation management software solution they build. Just give you a brief idea of the work they do. And that's yeah. They also have solutions for intelligent manufacturing. You see, there's a workshop and lots of sensor data coming up on your right. And you can identify issues, faults, and they are being instantly visualized in your BIM models. Yeah, I'm going to cut this short again because I'm running out of time. All right, next up is Intel SysBuild. This is really a prime example of how to utilize Forge on your BIM projects. I'm going to go to the video straight away because of the time.
The key to successful project delivery is making sure you have the right material at the right time. Intel Sys.Build can manage the entire supply chain of a construction project. In this short video, I'm going to show you how Intel Sys.Build can help your procurement and production team make sure they have the right materials. By taking the materials from the BIM model using quantity takeoff and linking them to the project schedule, the system knows exactly when each and every material for the project is required. What I have here is a list of all materials required for project execution. I just applied a filter to show the materials required for one specific project. Now what you see here is the material number, the material description, and the requirement date, as shown on the first shortage column. It also shows me stock availability, whether or not the materials need to be ordered or we have them in stock. And this applies to both in-house production materials and externally procured materials. By production materials, I mean components or elements that you manufacture in-house. For example, prefabricated timber panels or concrete elements. This application gives a very good overview of what is needed and when. But it doesn't say much about the material specification, how it's used or where it's used. This is where the BIM model comes into play. Intel Sys.Build links materials with the BIM model, and this provides your procurement and production teams with access to all of the design data from the BIM model. For example, whenever I select something from the list below, it is immediately highlighted also in the BIM model. We are using Autodesk Forge technology to provide this kind of visualization in almost all SAP applications. And you not only get context to the material about where and when the materials are used in the project, you can also access all of the BIM parameters related to the materials you are procuring or producing. And this gives an unprecedented level of detail and information that is vital for your procurement and production team to deliver projects successfully. Intel Sys.Build supports the whole building lifecycle, from design to construction all the way to the operation and maintenance of facilities. In this short video, I'm going to show how your maintenance team can use Intel Sys.Build for facility management with the help of BIM models. What you see on the left is a list of maintenance locations and the functional hierarchy. Different sites can have different hierarchies. What I also see in the hierarchy is the number of issues associated with any particular location. The notification and their details are listed below the map when I select the appropriate item in the hierarchy. When I go deeper in the hierarchy, it will open up the appropriate BIM model. To locate the equipment, you just have to click on the relevant notification in the list. This will highlight the equipment both in the BIM model and the functional hierarchy. Using the Autodesk Forge viewer, I can examine the model and look at it in the context of the entire building. I can open up the BIM parameters and get more technical specifications.
All right. Unfortunately, we won't have time for this provider, but it's a very famous one, so you can Google them. And there's a promotional video of them. You see they specialize in cost control and analysis. Obviously, from this screenshot of their app. All right, so we spent this amount of time on Forge. How do I get started? You must have noticed this is not an end product, right? A lot of the functionality can be used right out of the box. You will need to integrate it and develop upon them, build your solutions upon them. So how do I engage with Forge? Of course, the best place to start is our official site. You see there are lots of API documentations down the bottom. And just sign up first on your right top. And you will have 100 cloud credits and 100 days free trial period right out of the box. So you can have full access to our APIs within that period. And also we have this tutorial site. Log on there and they have a couple of few languages, so you can start from 0 to 1 to start building your solutions around Forge. And also we have a lot of samples on GitHub. If you're a developer, you must know GitHub. We have tons of samples, ready-made samples on there. So you can take your pick and delve into the code. And there are different channels to engage with us as well. We have a pretty much full-fledged community on Twitter and on Facebook. Also, we have our YouTube channel, our blog. And also, you can always drop on Stack Overflow and other question and answer platforms to drop us a line if you have any questions. All right, guys, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for coming me. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Bryan. Thank you.